Okay, so we are now going live. So we'll go ahead and we'll begin. And so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to a special episode of New Earth TV Live, where we're going to be doing New Earth interviews. And we're going to be bringing in Janine here in just a few minutes' time. So before we go ahead and get started with today's broadcast, we are just going to be doing a few announcements first, and then Janine will be coming in. So let's go ahead and start off with our announcements.
The world's first spiritual rejuvenation technology in the form of modern everyday items has arrived through to restore organs, glands, bodily systems, the energy system, and replenish emotional and mental well-being. The Etherics card decks, the healing code cards, eliminate and detoxify physical, emotional, and mental conflicts within the body. 44 beautifully designed geometrical cards specifically designed to work on the major areas of the body, encouraging natural recovery and increased vitality. The healing code cards come in 3 different themes: the body, mind, and energy decks, each with their own specific design to renew and rejuvenate the body. Etherics apparel and accessories that offer comfortable attire and beautiful geometrical and image designs to detoxify, strengthen, and rejuvenate the body. Download our collection of free sample images and cards from our website so that you can witness the benefits of Etherics spiritual technology for yourself. Visit our website now at etherics.co and begin your rejuvenation journey with us.
And of course, the Ether Bed Kit is available right now. So remember that you can try before you buy. There is the Ether Bed Healing Mode free trial symbol that is available on etherics.co. So you can see the website here, aetherx.co. The Ether Bed technology. Well, Janine and I have always been talking about med beds, right? So this is pretty much the closest thing there is right now on the market publicly for a med bed in this way. But it is a spiritual med bed, you could say. So again, it heals and it rejuvenates major organs, glands, bodily systems, cleans the chakras, the energetic nervous system, balances somatic and psychosomatic conditions, concentrated healing function, balances brain waves for sleep, goes into your Akashic records, clears the karmic debris and accesses your Akasha, dampens astrological malefic alignments, eliminates pain, sores, aches, stiffness, inflammation, assists with the deeper sleep, helping you with vivid and lucid dreaming. This is the closest technology to a med bed that there is. So I want you just to go ahead and check that out. Like I said, you have a free trial symbol here that basically is in healing mode. So it basically has all the functions of the healing mode function of the Etherbed kit. You can download that for free on etherix.co under samples. So this again is revolutionary. There's been a lot of people who are already purchasing it, and orders are already starting. I just started to process a whole bunch of orders yesterday. And so tracking numbers are coming together here on Monday. So I'm looking forward to rolling this out. It's already rolled out, I should say, but delivering it to everybody who has ordered. So in the meantime, try out the free trial symbol, try it for yourself. If you love it, grab the Etherbed kit. Of course, the healing code cards are also on etherix.co. We also have some apparel and accessories on etherix.co as well too. And one more announcement before I bring Janine in is we have a coupon code right now, okay? So we have a promo code today that's all capital letters, Tarot15, okay? This is 15% off all products on Etherex. That includes the Etherbed, okay? So this offer is good to the end of day of Monday, okay? So you got today, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to use this 15% off all products, okay? Offer expires Monday, end of day, single use per customer, okay? So make sure you use that promo code in the shopping cart, capital letters, Tarot15. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to bring Janine in. So Janine, welcome.
Hi, Brad.
Good to see you.
I'm happy to be back here. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking I might give you a free Etherbed. I think I might send you one of those. Do you have?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Do you have a queen size bed, a double bed, a king bed?
I do have a queen, and I am moving, so that would be awesome to have a new set for my move. I was just thinking when you said that, I'm gonna have to get one of those.
No, with all you've been doing with it for everybody, I think you deserve a free Etherbed kit.
Wow.
So afterwards today, if you want to just drop me an email, just send me your address and I'll get the bed sent your way. So you can check it out and you can let me know how you like it.
We can come back on and talk about it. Absolutely.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to have it back in February and we can talk about it some more as well. I know it's going to be great. Anyways, Janine, how have you been? I'm sure everybody's asking how things are going with you. How's things going with your website? How's things with readings? Has there been anything exciting that has been coming up lately?
Well, there's so many exciting things, as you know. I know you know that, Brad. The whole world's getting more exciting every day. I mean, if people don't like change, it might be difficult, but for those of us who invite change and are looking forward to it and sort of prepared for it, I think it's really exciting times. I can't even sleep, like I'm too excited about just life. So yeah, things are good.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, again, I'm so glad you're here once again, because like I said, I'd like to make this a monthly thing with you as well too, coming on, because we always get such a very big positive response from the audience. They're so happy. Like our last video got like 100,000 views, so it was wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And so everybody, just a reminder that Janine's donation link is on the video description on YouTube. Okay, so again, just feel free to leave a donation for Janine. It's ko-fi.com/Janine12. You'll find it in the video description on the YouTube channel here where we're broadcasting live.
Yep.
So we're going to now go ahead and start off with some questions for Janine. So the first question here is from Sharon. And Sharon asks, Janine, what does the future hold for California? How are things looking for California as far as the future goes? So
that's a good question.
Yeah. So,
while I was shuffling, the devil jumped right out.
Oh.
So that's interesting. I'm pretty sure it was a real deep state place.
Mm.
And I hope that was a was, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it was a was. Yeah. It's absolutely in a big change here and moving. It's being healed and cleared. So there's healing with that temperance card and clearing, healing, and long, slow, steady path towards clearing and healing. So the areas are being cleared and healed. That could have something to do with all the water coming down there and the flooding. I mean, I know that's hard to deal with, but I think it's obviously it's more temporary than having entrenched in dark energy. You know what I mean? That's been thousands of years sitting and under your feet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they just have a few more projects there to clear out But even in the next 2, and that could be days, weeks, or months, I'm thinking more like months looking at that, you could really feel your energies really cleared out there, which is probably really good news. And ACE, so we're going to have a big announcement coming out of there, it looks like, about somebody really big in the sort of deep state world being rounded up publicly, and it'll be in California. So that's interesting. And that would be, I would say, in the next 2. So let's days, weeks, or months, like I said. So that feels like a place that could show publicly some arrests. I believe that could happen everywhere, but it looks like in particular there, which we know there's a lot of dark players coming out of that area, unfortunately. But it looks like you're getting cleared out, and a lot of focus is there right now from the Alliance.
Excellent. Well, that's good. So I hope that helps you sharing with your question. Just a reminder for everybody on YouTube, if you want to join us on the Zoom link. Okay, so I posted a Zoom link on the chat. Right, so please make sure if you want to ask questions to Janine, you can't do it through the YouTube chat. Okay, you need to be here on Zoom to ask live questions to Janine. Okay, so make sure you're just clicking on the Zoom link. You can join us here and you can ask Janine questions as you'll be in the queue. All right, so we're going to move on to the next question here. This is from Maria Kaisa. Maria asks, what is the natural phenomenon of the northern lights, the aurora borealis, and the southern lights, the aurora australis, about? Is it a kind of energy? What is it kind of? Where does it come from? So questions about the northern lights, the southern lights.
Interesting. So the first card I got was the Ace of Pentacles. Interesting. So the Ace of Pentacles is a really solid, there's a yes to it. So yeses to aces. So what she said, there's absolutely a yes to it. That was the very first card. So it's an energy, and it's I guess it would be almost a reflection of an energy. Okay, a literal energy. But we've got the 5 and the surrender. So this is interesting. So it's almost like in conflict with. So it's an energy that's in conflict with something else that creates it to show up the way it does. So surrender to. So it's an energy that's almost fighting something. Something's fighting it to not either exist or show up.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a positive energy that's being, they're trying to, I don't know who they are, but it feels like it's in conflict with something that doesn't want you to see it.
Yeah, it feels like an effect. Like basically, if we have like a lot of those solar plumes that come together, it absorbs into the magnetic field. The magnetic field fluctuates, and it's almost like an exhaust. It's almost like something that comes up and protrudes.
Okay, yeah, because it does feel like it's.
Yeah, and it feels like it's radiating across the entire planet, and it's magnetizing into ourselves. So it's kind of like an extreme, an intensity in that way.
I would say yes to that too, because this card is like an extreme. So you've gone to an extreme level with something. And this card here, we've got the Chariot. So it's almost like it can't contain itself anymore because it's pushed too far.
It needs to be pushed.
So the energy shows itself. Yeah. Wow.
And we've seen even through certain forms of whistleblower videos, there's actually a hollow entrance at the northern pole of the planet. They've seen it open up and actually seeing like the aurora borealis coming right out of it as well too. So it is definitely representing like an extreme energy and intensity, a release. It's kind of like a pressure cooker, like when you pull the valve and all the steam comes out. Well, that's basically, I could say, at an energetic level, that's what's happening on it. So Maria, very good question. That was excellent. Let's take a look at another one here. This one here is from Lena. Lena says, there is discussion for dividing the earth in territories. Is this true or fake? And would the country's borders be removed and each territory will have its own currencies? So feeling of dividing the earth into territories. I think that was a lot of the plans of the World Economic Forum, what they were trying to do. Is trying to make sure that nobody owned everything. The government owned everything. There'd be some, kind of seeing that in disclosure with certain movies, like if you look at the Hunger Games, where they had all these districts, right?
Yeah. So it looks like that was on the fast track to be a thing, has now been taken off the agenda. So we've got the moon. So they killed that plan. I'll
Mhm.
say it like that. They put it to rest, let's say. They put the plan to rest, and there's discussion ongoing, and they're going to need consent from general populations, because this is our sovereign, and she's honest, true, sovereign, and very independent. So, and this card's about making sort of deals and making agreements. So there's still some agreements to be made on how that's going to look, for people to remain sovereign, free peoples. The plan that she was describing looks like it's been absolutely taken off, and they're still in progress with how it's going to look in the future, and they're going to need input from general populations.
All right. So I hope that answers your question there, Lena. Another question here is from Celia. Celia says, this is my first time on and wanted to find out if the Philippines is in good hands with our current president, Ferdinand Marcos, and if the communist insurgents in the Philippines will finally come to an end.
So some kind of an agreement was made in the background that took out the negative insurgents.
Mhm.
There was already agreements made, and I'm not sure about the person they're talking about, because I have a feeling, looking at all these cards, that person might have been taken out.
Right, yeah.
So that they may have somebody replace them
doppelganger.
to
Yeah.
appear like that. Yeah, because everything's going to change there, just like it's changing everywhere else. And right now, the movie's just playing itself out, especially in politics. A lot of what you're watching is a movie. So I feel like it's being played out, but things have already happened on the back channel that created a big change already there. So I don't think it's going to involve literally that person you're talking about, your leader. Because if looking at cards like that, I feel like the leader there was issues there, and they might be in some kind of processing. So they may have put somebody else forward, or they're using CGI. They got all kinds of ways that they can, things can appear like they're going on when they're not.
Yeah, body doubles, yeah.
Yeah.
Great, okay, thank you very much for your question. This one here is from Angelina. Angelina says, hi, Brad and Janine. I'd like to ask about the class action trial to do with AI art. Will it be successful, or will artists be replaced by artificial intelligence in the future? So there's apparently a class action lawsuit going on with artificial intelligence art. So I guess she's wondering if that will be a success relating to the class action trial that's being done against the AI art, and if artists will be replaced by artificial intelligence in the future. Another unique question. Thank you, Angelina.
Interesting. Okay, so I feel like already that's changed over.
Mhm.
So they've got a handle on AI art.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. All of these are really they're major arcana, and then we've got that Two of Cups. So there's already been things done in the background. So these are backdoor deals and people making agreements. So people have capitulated or made agreements for the good of humanity. So those two are definitely for the good of humanity. That was already done. And if you're seeing or hearing about it, it might be to scare people into understanding how close we got to giving up all of our humanity and handing over all of our power, and outsourcing all of our freedom and personal power. And that was just one more example of how we could have done that. I feel like that's mostly playing itself out for the benefit of people still sleeping.
Right. Yeah, because we're seeing quite a bit of that, where you can basically do like facial recognition art in that sense. So basically you do like an artificial intelligent algorithm, and it creates a human face in that way. And there's the same things with art as well too. So some people are trying it out. But the whole idea, the important thing to remember, guys, is that you are soul, you are spirit, AI is not, right? So there can be no replacement for the creativity of us on a soul level. So we want to remember that. So this one here is from Star Owl. So Star Owl says, when will they stop using the swab testing for seniors' homes? Are they dangerous? Right. Thank you, Star Owl.
So real quick here, this card speeds things up and so does that. So we've got things are changing really fast. So that whole narrative's coming down. Also, it looks like with that King of Cups, quite some time ago, a lot of those were neutralized. So if you took some of those tests now and had a look at, they're not dangerous like they used to be. I'm not saying they should do them. I'm saying they're now part of the movie. Because that was in the background. So things were already discussed in capitulation in the background. The good guys knew this was all harmful and bad and minimized it as much as possible in the back channels, but let some of it go forward so we'd understand what we were fighting against. And eventually we'll be able to point back at this and understand how we can never let this happen again.
Yes. Indeed. So thank you for your question. This one here is from Angie. Angie says, hi to you both. I have one question, if I may. Janine, do you have any update on the early 1900s Chinese railway bonds? All info on this seems to have run dry. Thank you from Angie in the UK. So the 1900s Chinese railway bonds. Interesting.
Okay, so what would the question be there?
If you have any information, is there any updates on the early 1900s Chinese railway bonds? So if there's anything happening, I guess there's old bonds that maybe they're trying to cash, maybe they're trying to make into.
Got it. So if we focused, because with cards, I mean,
yeah,
they could get so many things on that. So what I would focus on is, are they ever going to surface and become valuable, I guess?
Yeah, maybe
that would be more like a question. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So down the road, those are going to become worthy of something or worth something. Okay. And this is interesting because this card was above it. So it looks like it's because of the work of, I would say that's my Mr. T in the white hats. What can I say on this show, Brad? I can't remember. Are we on YouTube?
But you can say anything. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, good. Okay, so see that card there? I feel like a lot of work was done in the background to eventually they'll bring back some value to those, or they'll resurface. They're not going to be worth as much maybe because this card, we got some 3 pages. So they're not going to be worth as much as some people think, but I feel like the whole money system's changing and abundance is going to look different. Everyone will have it available to them and you'll be less worried about, how much you have. It's not going to be about that. You're going to have accessibility to the finer things in life that really count, if you know what I mean, right? So we've got that. It'll be for the good of humanity. They come circling back around and they'll be worth something and you'll be able to trade them for something, but I don't think money will be looked at the same way by the time that happens.
Great. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question regarding the bonds, Angie. This one here is from Caroline. Caroline says, hi, Janine, I have a question. Please, I know Biden, Mr. B, really isn't in office. It is just an actor. When we, the USA, get a new administration in place, will there be possibly a different leader that will come about, a new leader to come in? Thank you so much. I think some people somebody new is coming into the play. Yeah.
Interesting. So we've got the Magician, which again, movie. They're playing. This is a play you're watching. Okay, and then there's already a leader.
Yeah,
it would be Trump. So Trump's already leading, and we've got the tower in the background here. So some kind of a situation is going to have to shock people. So the general population, there has to be some kind of a shocking reveal for him to step forward as the rightful leader. And that's truly in the sights here. We're all working towards that. There's going to be a big reveal and he's stepping out. But he's the leader of the US.
Okay. I guess some people are theorizing that maybe somebody new may come, maybe Trump is working behind them or something like that. If somebody new is looking to come into office. I guess there's quite a few people speculating about that, but
Mhm.
I guess we'll see. See what happens. This one here again is from Maria. Is transplantation surgery a good thing from a spiritual point of view? If you get a new heart, for example, does the other person's, the organ donor's energies have an effect on you, your body, your soul, the receiver of the organ? So is transplantation surgery a good thing from a spiritual point of view?
So we got a soft yes to that.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you're going into it and using the right energies, I feel like, and really assuming the position of your own independence, even with somebody else's organs in your body. So I feel like a consciousness has to be present for it to be okay. I think you could, like you have to go into it really neutralizing the other person's energy. So it's almost like smudging.
Yeah.
Somehow spiritually, working with it spiritually. So with a lot of spiritual work, because this was above it, if you're a person who's evolved and thinking in those kind of ways, it could be perfectly good. There's nothing wrong with it. But I feel like if you weren't, you would be taking on energies and you might not understand why you're having some of the feelings you're having, changes in personality. I feel like it depends on your spiritual level of understanding.
Exactly. Yeah, I've talked about this as well too. Like basically, a person has a heart transplant. If that person was a smoker, and you may notice that that person may actually take on smoking because they're actually getting the cellular data from the other host that's coming into that person's body as well too. So you have a way of neutralizing. We can say smudging is also a good way of putting it, that we can neutralize those tendencies. But usually, if you're putting another organ from another person's body into yourself, you're taking on a lot of that cellular memory related to that organ. That organ is intelligence. Right? So you're putting that type of intelligence into your body. You may start to reflect those tendencies. But if you notice that these things are happening, you can clear them out. You can certainly smudge them, as it were. Very good. Thank you, Maria, for your question. That was a good one, too. This one is from Angelina. She said, I don't know if my question went through the first time, but I asked, will the class, oh yeah, we already did this one. That's for the art. All right, let's go back to Poland. Okay, so this one here is from Jolanta. What is the future of Poland? Is Polish government under white or dark hats control? Thank you. Right, thank you, Jolanta. So just a reminder to everybody on Zoom here, please make sure that you're not putting your questions on the webinar chat. Click on the Q&A button on the Zoom link, on the Zoom meeting here, and then just put your questions in there, okay? And that way it just goes into the Q&A. That's how we're doing Q&A, okay? So no questions in the webinar chat, please. Right?
It's still a fight. So it feels like they haven't entirely cleared out the bad from the good. So the good's in charge though. So this is mainly in charge. This one has the upper hand. It's a major arcana. This would be the other side of it that there's still some minions in the government who haven't got the memo. They don't understand that the head of the snake's been taken out already in their government. They're just literally, they just aren't in the know. So there's some that are functioning not in the know, that they're, their upper echelon of power has been taken out. Okay, so they'll appear to be really bad. Okay, which is probably confusing. And I've seen that in lots of different places. But slowly but surely, with that card there, the Temperance card, things are evening out and it's becoming clear who's actually really in charge. That'll happen all over the world, by the way. And we already we're starting to see it in certain places. So it's going to happen everywhere. Yeah. In the background, a lot of the top leaders that were the worst have already been replaced. So you might be seeing doubles, CGI, or you're not seeing certain people around anymore.
Yeah, that feels like it's the way it's going, especially with the three-ring circus we call the mainstream media. So you're seeing a lot more actors in place of politicians, or maybe the politicians themselves, or just actors themselves. It is really just a big soap opera we're looking at. So this is another question from anonymous attendee. Can you look into Ethereum? Are we going to see the Ethereum coin go to about $5,000 in 2023?
Did they say a date? Sorry.
Yeah, if we can look into Ethereum, are we going to see it rise up to $5,000 in 2023? So we can look at it right now if we want to.
I think it's going to take a little longer. We've got that 8 in the middle. So waiting.
Mhm.
And there's also going to be a big death and rebirth of it. So it maybe has to hit lower and then to go up higher. We've got the Fool there. So it's going to take some dips, but ultimately looks like it sticks around even in the new system, or that's the desire right now. So it's slated to go forward because some of them aren't. I know some of them aren't, but I feel like it's going to take longer maybe than the time period they're giving here. I'm even going to say, into the next year and by fall of the next year. So the 10th month of the next year is what I would get from looking at those.
I guess the personal question I would have is, how do you feel about maybe the first half of 2023? How do you feel we're going as a collective for the entire world about how things are going for the first half? I did a reading not too long ago for the first quarter of 2023. It looks like things are really picking up. I call it also almost like a grace year. We have a lot more planets going direct right now. And so there's a lot more of a smoothness of energy coming together. So I'm wondering how the first half of 2023 may be for the cards.
Okay. Oh. Wow. Okay. So huge wake up and huge switch. So those that have been, watching videos like this, and those people that are awake to what's really going on and who's really running things and who's really not and all that kind of stuff, they're gonna finally be on the other side of this, like the Wheel of Fortune. The people that are the sleeping people that were not inviting you to, events, et cetera, because you weren't vaxxed or whatever. Okay, they're going to be on the downside of the turn here. And that whole narrative's going to get plunged, and everybody that had something to do with it's going to be, we're all going to be looking at them, and not in a good way. So it's not going to be fun for let's say the normies. They're going to be in shock, frankly, with that card. They're going to be in shock, but it'll be a really big turnaround and a lot of really intense and fast changes, like where things just look completely different, within 6 months even of the year. So I don't know, you said grace year. Well, that feels like a grace to me, but I love intensity. I got a Scorpio moon, Brad. So I'm like, bring it on. I love it. I eat that intensity for breakfast. That's why I do what I do. But, and I'm not afraid of anything in that way. I'm afraid of heights and things literally, but I'm not afraid of emotional or spiritual energy at all. So bring it on. But a lot of people won't like that because that's a lot of change in a fast amount of time. It's going to be intense. Yeah, fascinating, and the whole world will look different to almost everybody by then, and not always in a good way for some of them.
I think with a lot of people that are starting to move into this direction as well too, they're going to be looking forward to things that are bringing. But yeah, if you're still basically watching the mainstream media, if you're still watching the three-ring circus, it's still going to be very intense. But a lot of the people on this channel, the good news, a lot of them are past that. So I think we're going to see, for those of you guys that are like that, we're going to see a really incredible time here in 2020. Things are getting done. Great. Well, thank you for that. So let's move on to Anne's question here. Anne says, hi, Janine, what is the best support for our children who have autism, regardless of age, in these times? Hugs from Anne in Sweden. Thank you, Anne.
So as this energy is taken off the earth plane and all the stress leaves, so there's a lot of stress, and a lot of it was created in the last 3 years. As we know, it was ramped up even more than usual. Okay, so as that's leaving, so that would be the deep state, dark cult kind of card. And then this is all the stress that creates, because they love that energy and they drum it up. Okay, they live off your destitution and stress. That really seems to ease up the people with autism. It's almost like the energy levels change and it gives them a little more positive input. I almost feel like you'll see an improvement in your autistic people that you care about. So children of any age and or they could be adults. They don't have to be children, but autistic people all around the world may feel like an easing up. It feels like it's been really, really hard on them. Okay. And for a really, really long time, but I feel like that's going to ease up with that ACE.
Great.
It's almost like they'll get a new energy source because they don't do well in the kind of stress that's been all around them, and they pick it up really, really intensely, and it affects them.
All right, great. I hope that answers your question. Here's one from Gail. Gail says, is ivermectin safe? The drug of ivermectin, is that a safe drug to take?
So I'm thinking with that card there, if it's done properly or worked with properly and used in amounts that are like, because you'd have to do some research and look into it a bit. It can be, because this card's a 60-40 kind of card, and it can also be either overused or used wrong. So I don't know too much about it, but look into the usage of it and what people, like what people are saying about how to use it, because just using it without that information could actually cause some trouble. Now, this card here is temporary setbacks, and it's not like detrimental where now you're having long-term health issues or it's maiming you or anything like that, but it could make things worse for a while before it gets better. So you need to look into how to use it properly with that card there. Using it properly is really important. It could also I don't feel like it's a miracle cure either, because neither of these are major arcanas. And I got a couple more cards here. Yeah. Surrender to, and a lot of people overuse it, that feels like, because that's an overabundance. So if you're overusing, I think it actually might take away from how useful it is. So just being careful, looking into how it's being used. Don't assume it's a wonder drug. It's good though. It definitely helps if you actually have, I guess, that flu strain that they've been trying to call COVID, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's also about taking more organic supplements as well too. So again, guys, if you're taking zinc, like liquid zinc is really good. If you're taking vitamin C, that is also very good. If you're taking ashwagandha, okay, Ayurvedic medicine can also help you with this. So working with ashwagandha, liquid zinc, vitamin C, okay, these are just some of the simple things you can take that will help in remedying that as well too. So again, we have to remember that a lot of viruses that happen within ourselves is because of our own state of being as well. Yep. You want to make sure that you're taking good care of yourself. You're working with yourself emotionally, mentally, not just physically as well too. So very good. Thank you for that question. Now here's an interesting question from anonymous attendee. In the new Avatar movie, Avatar: The Way of Water, they had a point in the movie where they were killing these large animals and using the substance for keeping someone young. Is this a common for what they do in real life? So before Janine gets to this, I saw that movie in the theater. I was the only one that got what they were actually saying in the whole theater. Everybody else was like, what? What's this? They were pulling Amrita nectar out of a whale, an alien whale in that way. Now, Amrita nectar is what I basically refer to as the Christ oil. So I'll be doing a video on that very, very soon. But that's basically what exists within everybody, right? So it exists within yourselves. It does exist in animals, particularly in whales as well too. So yeah, they usually give these little hints away in movies as well too. But the Amrita nectar is basically what you would refer to as an Ascension oil that basically brings it all the way up into the brain and activates the brain cells to actually give you a much more of a deeper experience with God. So I was the only one who basically in the theater of maybe about 100 people who actually got what they were doing. Everyone's like, what's that reader nectar? What's going on with that? So very interesting question. So Janine, go ahead.
Big old yes. Big old yes. So from a safe distance, they were describing. So of course, they didn't put it right in your face like you got it, Brad, but lots of people wouldn't have got it. But they were from a safe distance, definitely telling the world about that. You bet. And they've been doing, I call that a soft exposure.
Right.
They've been doing that in so many different ways lately, and I know that the bad guys were doing it.
Yeah.
The bad guys were showing us what they were up to through the movie industry, but for at least the last 2 years, I've seen a lot of things nodding to outing the bad guys and sort of outing things we need to know. So I call that soft exposure.
Exactly. Yeah, they put it in TV shows and movies all the time, right? So we're seeing, especially in a lot of Netflix movies, right? Netflix shows. They're showing that all the time, like the Mike Myers one, the TV show that he's doing with the secret society and all that. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So this one here is from anonymous attendee again. Is fusion energy the way that they're going to introduce free energy? Will they introduce free energy through fusion energy? Thank you.
So there's a soft yes on that, but there's way more to it. So I'd have to understand what the person means by fusion energy, because I honestly don't know.
I think cold fusion. I think that's what a lot of people talk about, code fusion. So they're basically trying to use different forms of fusion technology to create free energy. I wouldn't say it's really free energy because you have to still build the devices, right? But I think more of a clean energy would be more of the idea.
Okay, so that's part of it for sure, because this is a work in progress. And this part's a soft yes. So that'll be part of it, but there's more to it.
Yeah.
That's one of these things that they're using here, it looks like, but there's going to be more to it than that.
Yeah. A lot of it will be Tesla technology as well, too. So they're bringing a lot of Nikola Tesla's technology because he was pretty much the guy that was on the ball with not, like I said, free technology, clean technology, right? Plentiful technology where we can use that energy abundantly. So actually, someone was asking, Janine, are you still in Calgary? Are you moving, or are you still in the same place?
I'm moving in May.
In May, okay.
But I'm traveling a lot between now and then. I got all kinds of, I got a road trip. I got all these things planned. It's weird. It's like it went from no traveling for 3 years, like a lot of us, we were grounded, to now it's like I got all kinds of stuff I got to be at.
Well, there you go. You keep them busy. Are you still staying in Calgary?
Yeah, I'm in Calgary till May.
Okay, great. Excellent. All right. So this one is from Maria. Maria says, hi, Janine. Is August 21st in 7 BC the birthday of Jesus Christ? Thank you. So August 21st, 7 BC, the birthday of Jesus.
Okay, so that looks like an important date, but not maybe the birth.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's next to a death card. Interesting. So maybe even a death date, but not necessarily a birthday, but an important date nonetheless.
Yeah,
so
I'd have to disagree. It's not actually Jesus' birthday. It would actually look more closer to 4 BC. 4 BC would be more of an accurate time to his birthday, but pretty close, pretty close. It could be a big, significant event, but I don't think that's Jesus' birthday. So. Very good. Okay, thank you for that. This one here is from Tamara. Tamara says, hello, Brad and Janine. Has Jordan Peterson been approached by the White Hats? If so, what is his purpose? Thank you so much. I have no idea who Jordan Peterson is. Maybe you do.
I do.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I watch him.
All right. So if he's been approached by the White Hats.
Yep. Yeah, he definitely was. He had to travel to meet somebody, or somebody traveled to meet him. He's likely can't talk about it. So he has to wait before he can enlighten you about it, or enlighten his audience about it. He's working for the good of humanity and on various different projects that they use them verbally strategically. So they strategically place info and he puts it out there. But it's for the good of humanity, but not necessarily like he's strategic about what he puts out there and what he doesn't, and what he focuses on because of his arrangement here. Like I think a lot of a lot of people that might be the case. I mean, not myself, but I've never been approached by any white hats, but I think there are some placed people that are working very strategically with information.
Okay, great. So here's one from Holly. Holly says, hello to Brad and Janine. After recent resignation of New Zealand Prime Minister, what's happening regarding the Australian government? How long before they go down? And thank you from Queensland.
So she actually was already brought to justice quite a while ago. Now, I guess I'm going to call her a her, but I'm not sure she really is a she. But anyway, that person, the prime minister, was brought to justice and was working on behalf of. So a lot of what she was doing or he was doing was to out the bad guy's plan. Okay, so that was a puppeted person. Yeah, so they were already brought to justice and were made to do and say a lot of the things they did, which created them to be one of the most hated people in Australia. I mean in New Zealand. Unbelievable. Okay, so here we've got the world. So everything right alongside the whole rest of the world, things are going to be revealed. Even in the next 7, let's hope that's days, but it could be weeks. Wands can be weeks. So 7, within 7. So that's the revealing of what's really been going on. Feels like it happens quite soon here. And it doesn't only happen there. I think it happens around the whole world at that time. So the government never, like even if you hear they're going to put somebody in or whatever, the whole government system is going to change completely with that world card there. It's never going to be the same again. It's going to be a unique government that's, this has more integrity and there's a sovereign energy to wands. They have integrity and they're sovereign. So.
Great, excellent. So it looks like good news is ahead for New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah.
Great, so this one here is from Amanda. It's kind of an interesting question. Hi from Ireland. Apart from telepathy, can your cards tell what kind of superpowers, we will have once we are activated? I guess basically going through certain activations. I can probably comment, but I'll comment afterwards.
Wow. It feels like, so intellectually and emotionally, a lot of heightened energy here. She's very emotional, but she uses her emotional abilities for healing, also for manifesting things when she focuses on them emotionally. And this is an intellectual card here. So our intellect could really be heightened because this person said aside from. Okay, so I believe we will intuitively heighten. I think we already are. That's already happening. Now we've got the world and the Fool here. So the world is, so I feel like to me it's like it's very holistic. We'll use a lot more of what's available to us as humans. So it could come in lots of different forms, but it's like we become more whole and we feel more connected all around. This is a safe and connected kind of card. She can really be herself. So also there's an individuality within the safety of that wreath she's dancing in. She can be her complete, real, true self. Okay, she's not afraid. You're not enslaved anymore. You're not afraid of being, something bad happening to you. So within that kind of safety, I feel like we can really express ourselves individually. So there could be a lot of different individual ways that expresses through people. I don't think it'll all be the same across the board. Some people might be heightened over here, and then, more somebody else over here is heightened in a different area, right? So yeah, the Fool. So also a lot more risks and chance taking, so less fear. Okay, that might become more obvious going forward, because when we don't realize we've been really dumbed down with fear and all of this enslavement in so many different ways, we've been attacked and we didn't realize it. So I feel like when that lifts truly out of the earth atmosphere and energetically out of our bodies, when we sort of exercise that out, I feel like we'll find that we're far less fearful and we're more free people to be loving and express ourselves.
Yeah, Exactly. Well, good. Very well put as well, too. I also noticed when I looked at the world card, it represents omnipresence, right? So you're much more omnipresent, you're omnipotent, you're omniscient, right? The whole idea, guys, when we look at activation, this is not something you're going to get through the mind, right? You have to get out of the mind for all that. This is what I was talking about with the Christ oil, right? When you actually start to work with the Christ oil, which is a video I will be doing work on, but basically that is a raising. That's a raising of your own intelligence. And that is moving back up into the brain. And it's basically just telling the story of Jesus, about the idea of how he died on the cross, sacrificed himself, and then basically 3 days later was brought back to life. This is all talking about Christ. Guys, do you know what the Christ means? It's an oil. That's what Christ means. Christ means oil. So basically it's talking about the chrism, the Christ, the Christos, right? So we're looking at this oil that comes in every single month. And it's when the moon comes into your sun sign on your chart that stays there for 2.5 days. The oil therefore goes down to the sacral plexus. It comes down from the claustrum. This is where Santa Claus comes from. The story of Santa Claus is him going down the chimney. It's the center point of the brain, and it's actually going down through the pituitary and the pineal and actually moving its way down the spine, down to the sacral plexus. And it stays there, it nests there. And when the moon enters the sun, that's when it starts to rise up. The Christ consciousness within you, the Christ oil, starts to raise up. So it goes up to the navel, goes up to the solar plexus, and that's where it becomes a seed. Goes up into the heart center, goes up into the throat, and the throat is actually the cross. And that's actually where it's being sacrificed. And the essence of the seed is actually moving back up into the brain. And that is where we're actually getting activations and actually moving into having brain cells activated significantly. What you're doing is you're making peace with God. You're connecting to God. This is more than just psychic stuff. This is more than just clairaudience and clairsentient stuff. Guys, that's just a lens, right? That's a lens of how you're seeing the world. You're seeing the world with a very, very big lens, but that's not the idea of you being free. You being free is to know that you are God. You being free is to know that you realize that you are God. Guys, that's enlightenment. Enlightenment is for you to realize that you are spirit. So when you're going there, this has nothing to do with superpowers. This is a natural ability that you have within yourself. When you know that you are omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, that is the true nature of yourself. So you're looking at everything beyond a body and a mind principle. As long as we stay in a body and a mind, there's always going to be some type of confinement, maybe a lot of space, but there's still walls. So when you're moving up into this true activation, which is a God-given ability within you every single month. The reason I can say this is because it's happened to me multitudes of times. Getting the Christ oil coming up and activating all these things. Guys, that's how I'm able to pull the stuff out of the ethers that I do, right? And a lot of us have this, and we just don't know that we have it. So it's a lot more deeper than, as the viewer would say, superpowers. This is your natural ability. It's who you are. You are awareness, you are consciousness. And the body and mind is just an instrument, a support system. But we can always talk about that later down the road. But Janine put it together very, very well with the capabilities for what the cards are showing.
That's
Great.
brilliant, Brad. Yeah,
I'm gonna make a video on it. Yeah. I'll
that happened to me once. So you just described exactly what happened to me once.
Great. Excellent. Yeah, this is going to happen. It happens every single month. So if we prepare ourselves every month, your brain gets incredibly activated. You basically see God before your eyes. It's a beautiful experience. I had it myself. So this one here is from Ute. Ute says, well, Russia also tried to get rid of the American army stationed all around Germany. They never left Germany after the Second World War. So Germany was never sovereign. Maybe soon we could have Russian missiles flying here to get rid of the deep state in form of the army station. So we're trying to keep the question here a little bit simple. Will Russia try to get rid of the American army stationed all around Germany? Thank you, Ute, for your question.
So they're waiting on this guy. So this could be Mr. T in the white hats. So Trump in the white hats, the alliance, and we've got a surrender in the middle. So I feel like Russia is somehow tied into the white hat activities. And we've got the Six of Wands. So something already happened in the background that could have changed the situation. Something already happened in the background, and this is the outcome. So it's going to take a while, or it'll look like it gets really close to. So I feel like they'll push it to look like that. So that's some kind of an operation or an op that they're going to have looking like it's going to get really tense, and then it never actually happens because Russia's actually in cahoots with the White Hats.
Yeah, they're kind of like the driving force, the united force behind it, a lot of it. And of course, they do like co-op missions with off-worlders, the human guardians, as I talk about as well, too. And like I said, we've seen a lot of deep underground military bases being taken down as well, too. And a lot of that is joint operations, both on-worlders and off-worlders. So, again, a lot of exciting stuff we can investigate here. This one here is from Odile. Are there any natural disasters coming? We have to be a little bit more specific, Odile. When will it be able to travel from Canada to the Caribbean? So I'm just, it's a little bit broad, because if we're looking at natural disasters, we're not really finding a direct point. So maybe we can look at the idea of maybe like maybe North America. I guess, are there any natural disasters in store for North America? Because they are asking about if it will be safe to travel from Canada to the Caribbean. So maybe we can look in between the North American region.
So it's going to look like there's one. Again, we got these things looking like this is a facade card.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got this wake up call. So for the sake of waking up, there could look like something's really intense coming. And it's for the good of humanity because it wakes a lot of people up, but it doesn't actually literally land or come. Like, I don't know why I said land, but it doesn't literally happen, but it's going to get looking like the facade of it. So that's interesting. I wonder if there'll be a faked or false alarm situation where it goes right to the brink of, okay, they're sure something's going to be. Or remember what they were telling us about this winter? Do you remember that, Brad? They were telling us this was going to be the worst winter. This is the dark winter. This is the blah, blah, blah. It's been one of the best winters we've ever had here.
Bad for
that
them.
Big storm, they've been talking about this big storm that was coming, and oh my goodness, around Christmas, then around New Year's. And it's like, okay, just usual winter, even though they hyped it up.
Yeah.
And I know some places had more snow than usual. But it really wasn't the worst winter ever, or the worst.
They were
Like,
trying to make it. Yeah.
We're just getting hype, you guys. Yeah. So I don't think anything really.
That was one of their plans for December, because here in BC we got quite a bit of snow, but it was nothing out of the usual. Like last January we got the same kind of snow as well too. They were just trying to make it early, but there's weather manipulation technology happening all the time. The counter forces have a lot more control of it. So even if they try to use it, they're counteracted pretty quickly. Yeah, so it only lasted like 3 or 4 days or something like that, and it faded away after that. So yeah, it was basically they're planning a big gigantic nuclear explosion, and they're just lighting a fire popper. That's it. So let's look at anonymous attendee. Will all local politicians across Canada be coming down as well as at the federal level? So will they be coming down as well at the federal level? Okay, thank you, anonymous attendee. And remember, guys, politicians is a clown show, nothing more.
So there will be a lot of them coming down, but there's 2 5s around it. So I'd say about half. So some of them are good. Some of them aren't working on the bad side. Some of them aren't compromised. It's not to say the way politics is set up, it's ultimately probably all got to be revamped. I believe it has to all be revamped. So it's going to be a lot of adjustments, but with 2 5s, I'd say you're looking at about half of them. You'll see publicly maybe rounded up, or you'll hear that they were, or you'll understand that they were. But there's some of them that are actually working for the good of humans, and or don't know anything about their upper bosses. You know what I mean? Maybe aren't in on, they're not in on the agendas. They don't know. They think they're just doing their job. So not all of them are coming down. No.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, anonymous attendee, for that. So this one is from Pauline. Pauline says the Canada and United States border closure for the unvaxxed keeps getting extended. Why is this, and when will they open?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they were trying to extend it now to like April or something like that.
It's a strategy in case they need it for disclosure and a military coming out. So I feel like they would not want people traveling around if all of a sudden they needed to lock down everything. So it's just one less thing to worry about, maybe. If they quit, because that could happen really quickly, right? All of a sudden we could have some military, when they're rounding up politicians, I believe for a short amount of time, military will appear to be in control. It's going to be a white hat military, but they're going to, so it's, yeah.
It feels like a clamping down of what's happening.
Yeah.
There's a clamping down of what's taking place. So I'm thinking between spring and summer, we may start to see it lighten up a little bit more. But I think obviously they needed some time, because I was thinking, okay, maybe around the new year they would start to open up. No, there's still more of a deeper clamping down. It really depends upon the condition and the state of the United States right now. So they're still requiring it. It's kind of like it's like the 11th hour right now for the United States. So basically with the unvaccinated, they don't want people there just at this particular time. I know some people have actually been unvaccinated, have been able to sneak through, and I've heard some people doing that. Of course, I think you were doing that as well too. Yes, including Janine.
I think if you're meant to go, you can go if you're meant to go. It's like I guess I was supposed to go. So
Exactly. Yeah, but it feels like a clamping down. So my feeling is probably spring, summertime. Don't quote me on that, but that's kind of the feeling as of right now. Okay, let's take a look at Mita's question here. She says, South Africa, know what you said about our electricity, but I would like to know about South Africa in the months ahead. What's the momentum ahead for South Africa in regards to them with their political situation with the people? Thank you, Mita.
Well, it's going to get tough. Things are going to get worse before they get better. So that's temporary setbacks. You're going to continue to see power outages, etc. And we've got this, so the whole structure is dysfunctional. And we've got this surrender to, that all has to get cleared out. Like not just your government, but literally all your structures. And I believe that's pretty much everywhere. The universe is sent this message along, though, which is that you're strong and powerful. And when you do rise up, and it might take some time, but when you do, you'll be like one of the most powerful nations. The biggest thing you're going to have to offer is your food supply. Interesting. I get huge abundance in food supply. So that's interesting. So even though it's really, really hard, and you had a lot of cleaning up, lots of cleaning out of the bad guys to do. Okay, you have to stay focused and visualize what you want your future to look like. She attracts abundance and her own version of her world. So notice how she's really focused. She attracts her own reality, and you have there's so many gifts there, and you're going to rise up and become really, really, really strong again. But it's going to take time, and there's going to be frustrating times. And I believe that's everywhere. We're all going to experience the rebuild of the world will be sometimes difficult for sure.
Great. All right. Thank you for your question. This one here is from Michelle. And I'll basically just use a bit of a code word here. Will all PEDOs be exposed, even from 5 decades ago? So the ones who are the Ps, I'll call them, are they looking to be exposed here, especially going 5 decades back?
In time, it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
So don't stress about it, right? Because this card's stressing about things you don't have to stress about. So the first thing that looks like it'll happen is at least they've contained and have their sights on the word you said, right? A whole lot of them know what's coming. and they're actually capitulated. We know a lot of Hollywood. We know a lot of famous people, elites, royals capitulated already in the background, politicians. So there's a whole lot of telling on each other. So that could take up to 4 years. There's 2 4s around it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it could take years to, like really spotlight all of them here.
Pretty much this
But,
whole decade, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it could take a lot of time. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but the good thing is it ends the current abuse of 12 and unders. Like at least the abuse stops and everybody's eyes are on. And so nobody's going to turn a blind eye going forward. That's not going to be, we can't do that anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're also been trying to normalize the P-file idea. Right? So they've always been trying to normalize, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong. No, I mean, this is their get out of jail free card, but it's not going to work. People aren't buying it, right? So so it was already will take a head of steam over the next little while, but I was getting similar readings as well too, that a lot of the stuff that's happening right now regarding these gigantic takedowns of everything, that's really what this whole decade is about. It's going to take time, but it is going to get done. So this one here is from Barbara. Barbara says, a photo I took recently when I was in the woods had what looked like to be some type of light or portal show up. Will we start to see more cosmic anomalies on Earth as the frequencies raise and the veils thin? All right. Very good question. Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, it's more like it's not. Yeah, I guess we're seeing them because our third eyes are opening. More people's third eye is opening. You're getting more intuitive. So they've been there all along. They're just it's uncloaking, or the cloaks coming off, or the veils lifted for you.
Yeah.
Some people have been seeing them for years. Do you know what I mean? Like, and we just, people thought we were nuts.
Yeah, we're not thinning all the veils happening. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it feels like absolutely. So yes, it's more like it's becoming known to you that what's right in front of you. Yeah. And it'll be more, you can talk about it more out in the open. So a lot of people that have been seeing it for years already will be able to talk about it and express it without feeling like they're going to get hauled off to a home, or somebody's going to excommunicate them out of their friend group, or you know what I mean? So there's the veil lifts mostly for people who are already so inclined to see it.
Yeah. Well, the interesting story too is like I just bought a new truck not too long ago as well too, and I was talking to the salesman there, and I was telling what I was doing with etherics, and it's a healing technology. It's like, oh, Brad, tell me more about this. What is this? Because I'm really into this stuff. I'm like, oh, great. Guy who's a salesman, car salesman, who wants to know more about this. So I was telling him about the power of healing and the power of consciousness, and he's like, yeah, I know. Is there anything involving ayahuasca with this thing? It's like, no, this is not an ayahuasca thing, right? But he was really telling me about stories about how he was opening himself up and expanding. And this is just your common run-of-the-mill car salesman, right? People are opening up to this. They're no longer looking, okay, this person's insane, get away from me. It's more so, oh my God, that's interesting, tell me more. This is what I'm noticing a lot more through the collective consciousness. People are interested in your expansion of awareness. It's not so much the idea that you need to call an outhouse and get a person in a straitjacket. That certainly was the way back in the 80s and 90s, for example. Now it's way much more getting much more excited. So we're seeing the veils thin on many different levels, for sure. Great. This one here is from Lori. Lori says, is there any validity to any of the various Trump financial products and TRB booklets being advertised, or is this all a scam? Thank you, Lori.
I think there's a small percentage that could be valid. So, but a lot of people are just taking advantage of his name. So we've got that strategy card. So be strategic, use your intuition. Small percentage, that's a page looking the other way. So I feel like unless he's actually promoting it himself, which we only saw him promote the one so far, right? So we saw him promote that, what was it? The Trump cards. Yeah. So be be careful, because there's a whole lot of scammers out there, and a lot of them will go by the wayside, and you'll see that even in the next 4 to 6, that feels like months, because the death card's longer than days or weeks. 4 to 6 months, you'll see a lot of them just disappear. Okay, so I'd be careful. It's like, I'd be careful buying things like that.
Okay, great. So this one here is from an anonymous attendee. It says, is shedding from loved ones who got vaccine true? If so, what is the best remedy?
Okay, your best remedy against shedding is don't assume you're going to be affected by it.
Yeah.
Right? So she focuses on, sorry, my really big cat's trying to come on the camera here.
That's okay.
He'd take over the whole camera.
Right.
She focuses on, like, she's depressed and focuses on, she's very fear-based, especially when she's badly aspected. I mean, she can be an amazing healer too, but in this case, that this badly aspects her. Okay. So assuming, watch what you're saying to yourself and how you're thinking about it. Okay. If you believe that, therefore it's true. I lived with my son who is double vaxxed for a year. And I didn't notice anything, because I just disagree. I just completely, mentally, it's all emotional to me. It's like, if I fear something, it can get me. If I don't, so I just, no way, there's no way that's not going to be a problem. And I don't believe it's a problem unless you make it a problem. So that a lot of people disagree with me. Some people can literally manifest problems, and I believe that's what's happening. And then there's probably ways to get around it. But my higher universal energy wants to say, you can think it away by not, just don't buy it.
Yeah. It's kind of like that old saying, if you believe that a draft from the window is going to give you a cold, it's going to. But if you know that you're not going to be affected by that, you're not.
Yeah.
Now, guys, I've been around people who have been vaccinated and unvaccinated as well, too, hung around them quite a bit, right? Just going to and fro, people who are vaccinated all around me. Not once did I ever catch anything. My own mom is double vaccinated, and I've been around her. No problems whatsoever. Okay. So like I said, guys, this is all psychological warfare. And even a lot of alternative streams is, oh no, get away from vaccinated people, right? You'll get shedding and stuff like that. And they buy into it, right? You guys have to learn to discern for yourself, not from what experts. It's not even what we say, right? It's all about learning to discern with yourself. If you know you're going to be okay, regardless if a person's had a vaccine or not, you know you're going to be okay, right? It's no more different than the draft from the window analogy, right? So very important. And hello to your little cat there. So this one here is from Robin. Robin says, in the next 3 years, what is the future of major computer corporations? Will they be taken down or one prevail? I think we can pretty much say that they're being overhauled right now, right? So we can kind of look at, like, what, not a computer company, but like Disney, for example, is being overhauled. It's not being taken down, guys. A lot of these companies are not going to be taken down. They're going to be overhauled. They're going to be renewed in that way. So we can look into the cards with that. But basically, a lot of people have asked about Disney and a lot of these other different forms of corporations. But no, it would be too suspicious taking them down. They need to be overhauled instead.
So they'll die they've been dying a slow death and then rebirthing, because that rebirths. So yeah, exactly what you said. You're going to see a new face on them, new people running them. They'll use the infrastructure and recreate, because a lot of those infrastructures are really well done. Like, for instance, YouTube has a great infrastructure. It's hard to duplicate. A lot of people go on other platforms, and none of them are as easy to use and easy and accessible. So that gets taken over and used by good. So that's how you do.
Exactly. Yeah, just like the Disney example. So thank you, Robin. That's basically what we can share about that. So let me just go down the list here. Okay, so here's something about Iran. Will the Iranian uprising, which was initiated by women, prevail? And will this bring change towards positive regime? Positive, I guess you say white hats or counter forces. So will this bring about a positive change related to this Iranian uprising initiated by women?
Yeah, big cards here. So it's going to turn things around and bring justice, but it's gonna, there's some brutal energy to it. Like it's obviously, it's not going to be pretty or easy, right? And it's going to take time, but it's on the path to reform and getting better and getting the bad guys out, like everywhere is. That feels like that's like everywhere. And then there's the outcome. So after hard work and time, they become sovereign, independent, and their money system's more sovereign and independent, their banking system, just like all of us. So we're headed in this direction.
Mhm.
Less input from fraudulent governments and less big money grabs from every which direction, because obviously that was what the gangster bankers were doing everywhere all over the world. So that's where they're headed, just like we are and everybody else is.
Great, excellent. And so we have another question here. Okay, this is from an anonymous attendee. Are the changes that will come about as in healthcare, banking, media, finances, med beds will happen within what time frame? Will it be gradual as 20 plus years or short term as of less than 3 years? You need to grab an ether bed kit. Because that's the closest thing to a med bed, right? That's what I'm creating, guys. Okay. It's not a secret space program one where you're regenerating a limb, but it's really helping you with so much healing. Like I said, just grab the free sample on etherics.co. Okay, you'll see a samples page. Just go to the samples page. You'll see a symbol there, right, representing the trial symbol for the ether bed kit. It's the healing code free trial. Print it out on your printer. Follow the instructions. You activate it. Then you just put it on your body, and you're going to try it out for yourself. And if you like that, then you're going to love the ether bed because it has even more stuff. So that's the closest thing right now that I'm aware of is basically what I'm creating for something like an ether bed. And it's just, it can fit on any particular type of bed. So give that a try. So what is the time frame? Will this be happening short term or long term? Janine, what did you get?
So I get, it might look different than you think. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune. So things will change, and it also changes fast when you got the Wheel of Fortune. And intuitive knowing and or intuitive. I feel like our intuition is going to be a big part of, and our own personal energy is a big part of what heals us. So I know a lot of people get mad at me when I say that. I don't physically get med beds, although maybe there is, right? But I never get that advice from the universe. I always get, think in the way of using your own energy, and kind of what you're creating sounds like that.
And that's
anyway.
the idea, is you're using your own energy through the bed. You're the power source. Right?
Yeah, you're using some tools with your own energy. Okay,
Exactly.
so it could look different than people think. So now we've got the 10. So we've got the 10 of cups, which would be like the end of something. So as we end this big movie, okay, then they roll out things like new technology of all kinds, I feel like. But when I pick up on what the technology looks like, I always get, it'll come from within our own energy.
Yes.
But yeah, like I said, a lot of people don't like hearing that. So use your own discernment, discretion. And I think we can use tools to help enhance our own healing abilities, and also people. There's already a whole bunch of wonderful healers out there working, and I know they can't replace limbs. So this is the part where let me pull some cards on the kind that can replace limbs. How's that?
Yeah, go for it.
Because that's a whole different thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about healing. I always think most things, all of my ailments that I've ever had in my lifetime have been from emotional responses to things, or not admitting to an emotional feeling about something. I repress it. I got my knees out, my hips out, something happened. It's all emotional. Yep. It's all responses to things, right? So if you think about it that way, it's interesting. Mm-hmm. But let's have a look.
That's a good thing about the ether bed kit. It actually helps to realign your spine as well too when you're sleeping. So
yeah, wow.
There's a lot of things. Like my girlfriend, she actually had a bad. She was being told by the dentist that she needed a root canal. Her tooth is completely better now, thanks to the ether.
Yeah, I stay away from root canals as much as possible.
That's exactly what I was telling her. So I said, no, we can heal your tooth yourself. You don't need that stuff.
Yeah. So we've got so I believe that there were med beds used for bad. So literally things that could, so probably the really wealthy and elites were using something like a technology for bad. Okay, and that's been taken over and getting cleaned up. So we've got the fool there. So there's this energy out there that might be used, but think about it. A lot of the way they use things, it also hurt people. So they take, the blood of young people to keep young, right? So we don't know about that. Technology probably needs to get looked into or cleaned up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now we've got an ace and a 5. So there's been disappointments around some of those and the way they work. So I feel like that's going to take some time to clean up.
Yes.
And now we've got these two. So the 9 of Cups. So it's a wish for people to have physically be able to, our wish will come true, but it's going to take a lot of cleaning out the energy to do it. Like Judgment, we're going to have to look really closely at where does the energy come from and who was using it before. We have to clean it up. So that's going to take some time. So I feel like, I think there will be physical things that could replace your limb, but I feel like that's coming down the road. And I got the word 10 in my head. So that could be 10 years.
Great.
But there's already all kinds of ways to heal other things, is what I was getting at.
Yeah. And so again, if the person asked that question, guys, check out etherix.co, aetherx.co. Like I said, there's a free trial symbol. You can go there and you can download it and you can print it out and you can start using it right away. Just try it for yourself. Like I said, it is not the SSP medbed that we talk about a lot. Like I said, you're the power source. It's kind of like if you watch the commercial at the beginning of the broadcast. You'll see how you're the power source. Okay, so again, it's using your own power. It's using yourself. And it's an instrument. It's a permission slip. It's a template that's helping you along that way. And while you're using that, in the meantime, you can develop yourself further. And now you won't even need a template. Right? So very good. So this is a bigger question here from Lana. I'll do my best to read it out here. It's a paragraph. So Lana says, I've learned over the last 3 years or so that our governments are actually private corporations and not governments at all. They are revenue gathering businesses. I'm in New Zealand and I'm glad Jacinda has resigned, but I have no faith that this system will let anyone truly good rise to any real power. When people realize and know that we, the people, are the supreme entities aside from the great creator mystery God, and as living men and women with souls, the corporations and their agents have no jurisdiction over us. Great change can happen. I see this as a massive part of the answer. What do the cards say? Is personal sovereignty, natural common law, a big part of the movement forward to the new earth? Thank you. Thank you, Lana. Great question.
That's a big old yes.
Yes, yeah.
You bet. And also eliminating fear. And watching what you focus your energy on. See how focused she is on her cup. So that's her emotions. In tarot, cups are water, so vessels, so your emotional energy. She's focused on her emotional energy and her emotional response, but she can be a little morose and sad and fearful if she's badly aspected. So you got to be careful. I feel like we have to be really watchful and careful about our responses to things emotionally. That's going to really help change things as well. And detachment from fear. So yes, everything she said, and a big way to speed that up is let go of your fear, even fear of being persecuted. And I know that's hard. Like when I was going through that border, and I was pretty sure I was going to get turned away. And then I just got into an energy that said, you know what, I'm here for the good of the humans. I love humans. I love being a human. I love what I'm doing. And I'm going to just go there with my best intention. And I just changed my energy frequency. And all of a sudden I got whisked through. Like I've told the story before, so I won't waste time telling it again. But I got literally someone came and intercepted somebody I was talking to and whisked me through. And pretty soon I had a ticket in my hand and I was off to security lineup. You know what I mean? So, and nobody ever said anything after that. And I got into the US. So I feel like energy is like how we utilize our energy, how we feel about things is really important. What vibration we're coming from and what are we sending out? What are we sending out? That's what's going to help.
Exactly. Very good as well. And like I said, she summed it up really well with her question.
Yeah, she did.
So This one here is from anonymous attendee. Are the changes that will come about as in healthcare, banking, media, finances? Oh, wait, no, I already asked that question. Forgot to remove that. Sorry, this is another one. This one's from Fady MLK. Fady says, "Hi, Brad and Janine. I would like to know if you see New York City waking up or stopping the mandate vaccine. Well, New York City will be getting back to the way it used to be. The energy is very low. Well, nothing will ever go back to the way it was, guys. It'll get better. That's the important thing to remember. But it's a transitional time right now. But we'll see what the cards say."
So everything that's happening, certainly politically in New York City, is by capitulated members of your government who are pretending to, behave a certain way. So none of that's real that you're seeing there. Okay, in New York, it'll be all new. We've got this ace, the Ace of Cups. It's going to be all new in New York. Okay, it's not going to be anything. It's been very disappointing, and they used New York for like ground zero for the whole pandemic. Right? Remember all those lies they were telling about what was going on in the hospitals and the mass graves and stuff, and that all got debunked, by the way. I don't know if that's the right word, but it got exposed that was all lies. People went around, YouTubers, several of them, really good ones, and they went in hospitals where they were supposed to be overflowing and they were empty. Like you could hear a pin drop kind of empty, and things were nothing like they were saying. They were using footage from different places. They BS'd you the whole thing. The whole thing was a big psyop in New York. So everything's going to change in New York. It's going to be rebuilt, and a lot of focus is going to be put on it. So it's going to be a really good place to live again. It could take up to 3 years to see what I'm talking about, but it's going to be an amazing place to live. But it could take time. You might need some patience with it. Yeah, it's going to be actually an amazing place to live, but over the next 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. It will take time, but it will get there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Fady, for your question. This one here is from Cody. I'm curious if any of the political leaders, actors, people in the movie are playing non-playable characters, playing out their role of following the narrative. Or are they just background people, I guess we could say. So interesting question here. So basically, if they're just kind of like extras in the background, are they really playing? It's a really hard kind of question to answer because we can't really just go into their bodies and look into that, right? But political leaders, actors, you could say that they're basically actors. We can basically say that they're stand-ins, that they're reading a script, right? But they're playing out their role of following the narrative. I mean, you're basically answering your question as you ask it.
Yeah, I'd say yes.
Yeah.
Let's just say yes.
Pretty obvious. We basically call it the three-ring circus. So
yeah,
I don't think we need to pull the cards in it. It kind of just answers itself. So I think we'll try to. Yeah, we just answered one on New York City, Caroline. So thank you for that. This one's from Peter. I'm wondering how one can spot clones or androids or these reptilians left whom are posing as humans. Thanks again. I appreciate it. Okay, well, we could check the cards for that, I guess. About detecting humans who are not humans. We could call that non-humans in human disguise.
I think a lot of them are going to leave the Earth plane over the next 2 years.
They have been leaving for sure. Yeah.
And a lot of them have already left. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're with patience and perseverance, and as we heal the Earth, they don't feel comfortable here. Some of them, certainly the reptilians, they don't feel comfortable. They need that loosh, right? They need that yucky energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like if you just give it a little time, you're going to have mostly, functioning humans here, which is going to make the world a way better, energy to be in, right? The energy will change. I mean, obviously everybody will still have some work to do, and it's not like it will all be perfect or anything, as that we're all works in progress, right? But at least we won't be dealing with literally a complete matrix that is against us entirely. And it'll be really fun to watch what people can do when that energy is lifted. Won't that be exciting? Right? So you're not going to be putting down herbalists and natural medicines, and you're not going to be naysaying anything that brings everybody closer to their own essence. And you know what I mean? Nobody's going to be there to do that. We're not going to be canceling natural energies that naturally empower us and give us sovereignty. Like, so when that gets lifted, it's going to be amazing to see what humans can do. We're going to be amazed. Like, and I feel like there'll be a real balance between masculine and feminine as well. That'll come back, and it'll be really healing. Like, and remember what you were talking about, Brad, that energy that flows on when the moon's in your sun sign.
The crystal, yeah.
Amazing. I feel like we'll all get more in touch with natural energies and energy sources that we have within ourselves, and we'll be more whole, and we'll understand ourselves for who we really are and what we really are.
Exactly. So a little bit of extra tidbits for well, there's a little bit of extra tidbits for those who are concerned about reptilians, because there are certain reptilian species that they do breathe oxygen, but in that many of them they will breathe methane and carbon monoxide as well too. This is exactly why there's been such a push with the oil industry. A lot of them that are basically mixed in with the population actually get a sweet effect out of that. They actually get a sweet effect by breathing out methane, breathing in carbon monoxide, a lot of the carbon gases, so to speak. And that's very much similar to what they have on their homeworld. So even though they have oxygen-rich planets, they will often bring in methane, carbon gases in that way. And they will use that as kind of a comfort for themselves. So basically, this is what happens with certain planets that are under certain reptilian jurisdiction for a very long time, is they'll start using fossil fuels or fuels in general, and they'll start combining it with these gases that actually give them a sweet sensation. They almost get high off it in that way. This is exactly why this whole idea of the gas industry has been pushed, especially since the early 1900s, because we've had a lot of the, you could say, reptilian disruptors coming here, and they get high off that gas. Right?
Wow.
It poisons us, but it heightens them. Right. So this is exactly why this is. I don't think anybody's ever talked about that before. This is something that's written down. But that's why a lot of these things have been allowed to happen. It's been under reptilian jurisdiction for a very long time. That's why the gears are now starting to turn.
Got it.
So a little bit of food for thought there for you guys. I think we just did one on Africa for South Africa. So I guess we can talk about this one. Maxine says, when will the war between Russia and Ukraine be over? And announced publicly. So we'll check the cards on that, and I can comment.
I think it's been over.
Yeah, that's
That was
exactly what I've been getting to.
Yeah, that was in the past. So it's already completed. And whatever they were doing, it feels like they accomplished their goal. Okay, so something's playing itself out to visually or physically appear a certain way, when in fact it's the exact opposite. So if whatever they're seeing in the news is probably the opposite. So if they're saying things are ramping up, they're probably rolling back. If they're saying Ukraine's winning, it's the exact opposite. There's the opposite thing seems to be happening than what they're saying. The agreements have been made in the background around the areas. So I even think that one guy from the Ukraine is actually working with Russia. Like I've got that they work together, and it's all a play. They're just playing out, just like wrestlers pretend to be against each other and they wrestle, but then they go off for a drink after the match.
I used to be a wrestler. I was 21 years old, so I know that industry quite well.
Yeah, right.
So that's exactly what we do. We go out there, we put on a great show. We come back, man, that was a great match. That was a great, like I won a championship, and I was doing it. It was a Vancouver Island Wrestling Federation.
Wow.
And I went out there, I did a match, and I had two other guys with me. We had a great show. I won the match. I won the belt. Went back, man, that was incredible. We did some great spots and all that stuff. Exactly how the political world moves, guys. It's exactly the same. Like, oh, it was a great speech. That was great. Let's go get some beer. That's basically it. It's a show in front of the camera. Afterwards, it's just people hanging out.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so this one is from, let's see if I can find a good one here. Okay, this is another one from anonymous attendee. What will the future jobs be? Like doctors, education, or ex-doctors, education is weaponized. Will this concept of doctors be gone? Are we going to need doctors in the future? Right? What's the future for doctors, or the medical establishment as we know it today? Where is it going maybe the next few years? Thank you, anonymous attendee.
Well, they're going to have to answer. It'll depend. So they're going to be looked into really closely to see how much of the agenda were they pushing. Okay, some doctors are going to be, and medical professionals are going to be facing, I think this could be even charges, right? So being brought up to the public eye to face charges. They're going to have to, if they are found to be in the know that what they were pushing was dangerous to people, or just not caring, even if they heard that it was, not looking into it, not doing their research. So people that were pushing the agenda of the dark cult deep state, they're going to be in really big trouble, and they're not going to have any work. So once they get through that sort of look-see, okay, and this is Trump in the White Hats kind of card, and or sort of the truth and integrity of the general population, we could even say, because he's the king of truth and integrity, that guy. And so they're going to be vetted and looked at. And if they're found to be where they were truly working for the good of humanity, cared about humanity, stepped away from agendas as soon as they figured them out, stuff like that, now they're going to have a place going forward in the new. So it'll be a whole new. So this is all new. Going in entirely new directions. Okay, so using their talents and abilities and putting them in entirely new directions, and a lot more. So this is more spiritually based, because wands, and also energy based. So looking at medicine from an energy base and less literal physical, and like they're going to take it in new directions. So they're going to need to be flexible, and all the old draconian ways they were taught, because think about medical schools. Okay, it literally is I think it takes you away from your intuitive knowing. But anyway, and I've never trusted any doctors. I don't care who they are. If they went through medical school, there's something wrong with them, because they didn't say, wait, something's wrong with this. Yeah. Where's all the natural medicine and stuff? Okay, so there's something suspect about them right off the bat. But anyway, so I feel like they're going to all have to go in new directions and get retrained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I don't see doctors at all anymore. I gave that up quite a long time ago. And the ones that I do see are the ones that are kind of more Eastern based, right? The ones who are Ayurvedic, the ones who are doing traditional Chinese medicine, right? The ones that have ancient formulas, the ones that have basically stood the test of time. Those are the good ones to see. But I said the most important thing is to listen to your body, talk to your body. What does your body need? Listen to what it's telling you, right? Tune into it. This is why we go into meditation, guys. We just go into a lot more calm state. What do I need? Okay, maybe I'm putting too much gluten into my diet. I need to take that out. I need to drink more water each day. Am I feeling dehydrated? I need to make sure I'm drinking more water. So the best form of medicine is what your own heart is telling you, right? That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So here's a question from Rob. It's kind of a funny one. Brad, what is that symbol on your shirt? I'm seeing this on different speakers. This is Under Armour. It's called Under Armour. Right? I like their brand. They have really nice shirts.
I love it.
It's not a secret society symbol, guys. You don't have to worry about that. Just Under Armour. So I think we're going to end with this question. This is from Stephanie. When the Earth ascends into 5D, will there be an actual physical split? Will those who ascend to 5D have access to new, revitalized land on the ascended Earth? Thank you, Stephanie. And I'll comment afterwards.
That's a big old yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. And then there's a soft yes. So there's, it's not as simplistic maybe as that.
Yeah, it's a little bit more to it.
Yeah, there's more to it. You want to take it away, Brad?
Oh, sure. I mean, was there any other cards that were coming up, or just those two?
Yeah, I know you'll have lots to say about that. Okay, so we've got the 4, so that we've got this gateway. I don't think it'll literally feel like a physical split. Like all of these cards are energy and emotional. So
yes.
We've got, and here's the outcome, and now we've got an Ace of Swords. Right. Okay, so it'll be how we think about it and how our mind perceives it that changes, maybe not literally the place. So we're going to think differently, feel differently, and spiritually go in new directions and open ourselves up to a lot more spiritual connectedness, which will feel like we're all in new territory. But there's no physical cards here, right? All of the cards are energy and emotion and feelings. So I'm going to say it'll just be more like we'll be more in tune ourselves. So we'll see more that we aren't seeing right now and feel more that we're not feeling.
Yeah, well, the Four of Wands really sums it up well because it's a gateway. So guys, when you're looking at the new earth, it's not physical on this earth. Okay, so basically what you're doing is this body is aligned to this physical realm. So as we see here with the Four of Wands, that's a gateway. What that means is that you're leaving this physical body. You can do that in the dream time. You can do that in meditation, right? I've done it. I've done a yoga nidra session where I would go into a projected astral body and I would go to the new earth. The new earth is not physical as we would understand here in the material plane. It is physical on another level, but that's a different density. So what you're doing is you're tuning out of this body and you're going to there. There's people who have left this world who have decided to go into the new earth, who have decided to go there and say, it looks like a paradise. It looks beautiful. I've been there. It's a wonderful, beautiful, magnificent Garden of Eden paradise, and you're actually talking to everything that's alive. Everything's a lot more vivid with you, right? When you're talking to a tree, you can actually hear the tree talk to you. You can see the tree moving. You can see all these different things. You see people materialize and manifest things out of thin air, and they're actually able to put cabins together, put together huts together. There's people that are manifesting food out of the ethers all together. So it's a very different type of world. What people think is happening is that we're seeing a physical split here. We're seeing one earth here, and we're seeing another earth here. In a way, that's true. That's the soft yes. But there's a little bit more to it than that. You will not be able to go to the new earth with this body. Can't be done, right? This is a third density body. This has to function here. But as you leave that body, then you're moving into this earth that is the new earth. And that's the physical split. Dolores Cannon has talked a lot about this. I've talked about it when I've channeled Adronis, right? And that is what you're doing through you're basically moving into a fourth density or fifth dimensional body that is manifested when you leave this one. Then you go into that earth and everything that we know is beautiful and joyful of that earth is there. It's a very different world than this one. It's much more of a paradise. It's more beautiful than this earth. This earth is beautiful, but that one is pristine, right? And like I said, it's by invitation. So if you get the invitation consciously to go there, go into your sleep, have the intention to go there. Go into meditation, have the intention to go there. Go into a hypnosis session, have the intention to go there. And you will see it for yourself. I've seen it. It's gorgeous beyond words. So that's really how it works. We cannot take this body with you to the new earth. Not possible. Has to stay here. All right. Great. I think that's a great way to end the session today. So Janine, how can people get a hold of you? What is your website?
They can go to tarotbyjanine.com. They can join my website, or they can watch me on Rumble. We're going to start doing 2 Rumbles a week through Beyond Mystic, Jean-Claude and Janine's Rumble show. It's a live show.
Great.
And yeah, I'm on lots of shows like hanging out with Brad sometimes.
Yep. And I'll have you back in February as well too. So.
Right on.
Well, Janine, it was so great. And like I said, I'll send you that ether bed. So just make sure you give me your address and I'll send one your way for free. And it was great to have you on today. And I'm looking forward to February again with you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Awesome.
Right,
Thank you.
So guys, remember that Janine's donation link is on YouTube. You just go to the video description below. You will see the donation link there for Janine. Let me take off the magic glasses here for a minute. You'll see the donation link there for Janine. So please be sure to leave her a donation. Go to her website, tarotbyjanine.com. Okay, you can also follow her on Rumble as well too. So like I said, she's doing 2 shows per week there with Jean-Claude. So that's exciting too. And again, guys, I want to thank you everybody for tuning in today. Just a reminder, once again, that the promo code for Etherics, so it's AETHERX.co. It's not .com, guys. Okay, it's .co. Remember that. That's not a typo there. Etherics.co. Okay, so you go on the shopping cart page, make sure that the promo code is all in capital letters, TAROT15. Okay, 15% off all products on Etherics. That includes the healing code cards, that includes the ether bed. All right, so all of that is available here for everything that you can purchase on through the website. Okay, so very important to remember. And once I said, check out the ether bed kit. Do the try before you buy. Okay, grab the free trial symbol on the samples page. of etherics.co. Give it a try. If you love it, go ahead and grab the Etherbed kit because there's tons of more functions on the Etherbed kit than in the trial symbol, but the trial symbol is just giving you that demonstration. It's like you're going into a grocery store and you're just trying a free sample. Okay, so give that a try, etherics.co. Thank you everybody for being here today. This wonderful broadcast with Janine. Again, I will be having her back next month, so be sure to tune into that. But again, I'll be back next Thursday for New Earth Tarot and next Friday for New Earth TV Live. Blessings to you all, guys. Have a great rest of the day. And I'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May it be well with you and take care. Thank you very much for checking out the New Earth Teachings YouTube channel. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And you can check out the websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can order a private session, 3 questions by email, EQ method, and a lot more. And you can also check out healingcodecards.com, where you can grab your mind deck, your body deck, and of course the brand new body deck special edition. All of these are available in digital editions as well. And you can also get a shirt just like this through healingcodeshop.com, where you can experience the healing codes in apparel form. So feel free to check out these websites. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you again in the next video. Be well.